I want to be clear. I want those who sees my work to understand what I think. For me, Zhumakyn Kairambaev is one of the most important artists of our time, and the one who combines the painting of the old masters with the new painting, because you need to understand that Zhumakyn Kairambaev is a luminary, a master from that generation of people who created a school of national Kazakh painting. And today this school has 100 years old history, and today it is recognizable all over the world, and it is not similar to others, and it is unique. It is original, genuine, very interesting. Here is one of the most interesting artists of this school, Zhumakyn Kairambaev. I want to say that this artist does not follow fashion trends, and at the same time, he manages to be quite modern. He graduated from the most, one might say, high-quality, best art educational institution. This is the Institute of Sculpture and Painting, named after Repin. At the USSR Academy of Arts, nothing could be better. This is the first Imperial Academy of Arts, which has retained its old, in this case, as positive qualities and traditions. How strange that this story was learned about in our country recently. The plot is amazing and worthy to be heard about. It happened in 1985. Unemployed Bronius Maigys doused a priceless canvas with sulfuric acid. It was a painting by Rembrandt, Danaya, hanging in the Hermitage. Rembrandt painted almost 400 years ago with his wife Saskia, and he did not sell the painting until his death. This masterpiece would be lost forever. The acid burned the paints from the glass, they leaked out, and everything was left around. The woman holds the key. That's all. The sofa, this figurine, all left alive, only this one figure. Of course, this was a tragedy both for the Hermitage and for art as whole. Naturally, there were talks about the restoration. Student of the Leningrad Institute of Painting, named after Repin, Zhumakyn Kairambaev, chose this picture of Rembrandt for his thesis and painted it for 2 months. Not a single expert believed that the picture could be saved. The thesis by Zhumakyn Kairambaev was the only high-quality copy of the picture. His childhood school love was Rembrandt's work, which is not at all surprising, since many people worshipped him, but not everyone dared to make copies of this master. When this event happened, of course, the best restorers were involved, but strangely, no one could achieve exactly that texture, precisely those nuances of the technology of Rembrandt's work. It was painted many centuries ago, so to know all the secrets of how he did it, it was apparently difficult.
Рано утром в 6 часов приходим, нас встречает на улице милиционер, они вот провожают.
We arrived early in the morning, at 6 o'clock. We were met at the street by police. They escorted us directly to Rembrandt. And Danaya, in any weather, she seems to be watching from there, alive. How is it made? This has always interested me. Why is it coming to life? Though in the dark, even in the light. And I always came up, looked. She has this pearl necklace. Rembrandt made a straight volume of paint. That was all interesting. I just could not understand how he was doing, whether this light moves or you move. And this point, flare, is also moving, and it turns out as if alive. I just wanted to achieve this.
И поэтому они пытались добиться фактурности и при этом добиться этой...
Therefore, to understand all the secrets, how he did it, it is apparently difficult. And his luminiferous palette, which no one can repeat.
Там технология рембрандтовской, краска другие, холсты другие, вот это все там.
Their Rembrandt's technology is different. Different canvases, different paints. And I took Rapinski canvas and painted with modern colors.
Наш современными красками писал.
And what is interesting is that this person is really modest, that very few people in Kazakhstan know about this fact. We don't see advertisement that mentions about him.
Осылардың бәрі келген кезде жасайды. Жаңағы жылдан бері басынан бірге өсіп келе жатыр. Соны жинап көрсетеді екен. Мынандай шығады. Мына кісі сондай баптап, қазір биікке көтерді.
Добрый, отзывчивый, позитивный. Сам по себе жив.
He is kind, helpful, positive. And he is a painter. He always gathers students around him. He collects his colleagues. He is like a magnet. Zhumakyn Kairambaev is ranked among the classics of the Kazakh school of painting. His paintings are a philosophical essay on the perception of a beauty. These are parables, biographies, an event story about what worries the artist, what he reflects on, and what surrounds him. He writes his paintings to the music of his soul, which lays on the canvas with buffy and golden flashes of Ilya beautiful faces of horsemen from high mountain villages, racing along the feather grass steppe. Still lifes, portraits, landscapes, plot paintings, according to the definition of art critics, famous portraits of Ablay Khan, Abay, Kurmangazy became canonical.
Он родился в таком прекрасном месте, как Хан-Тенгри.
He was born in such a beautiful place as Хан-Тенгри, where various works of various masters were created. Like Mukagali Makataev, he portrayed masterfully great people of his people. Of course, how could it be without Abay? He created several portraits of Abay.
Просто Абая, кто прочитал, там все, там вся твоя жизнь. Поэтому Абай я всегда хочу его писать.
Who read Abay knows that it is all about life. Therefore, I always want to paint Abay. There is a sculpture, but it is still a stone, graphics. There is one photo, everyone used that. I also repel from there. This is a photograph. He is sick, he is swollen. Here, at that time, they photographed him. Why? 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 While I live, I will knock until the doors open.
Я был свидетелем, я знаю, как он создавал. Он все время некоторые работы дописывает.
I witnessed. I know how he created. He constantly finishes some work. Now he has a large canvas at home. But here it's like nomads, and he considers the whole Kazakh people through one figure. The horseman and the horse are viewed holistically, and this connection is felt strongly because he is a son of a shepherd. He grew up in the environment, and he has already exhibited several times, and he is still completing it. As we know, Leonardo painted his Gioconda throughout his life.
И это человек, который всю свою жизнь посвятил только одному искусству.
And this man who devoted his whole life to only one art of life. This is a person who understands painting in the highest sense of the word. And that is why the theme of his paintings, if we could put them together, we would see that these are the most important topics of human life. But he only answers these questions, as a real poet is very lyrical. And this distinguishes his paintings from many others. Zhumakyn Kairambaev experiences painting as poetry, as music, and therefore the composition of his paintings is always harmonious. I know for sure that any artist uses not only paints, but draws with the help of his heart and soul. And I know for sure that the world of Zhumakyn Kairambaev is a world of such endless harmony.
Естественно, он работает.
He works in traditional genres. He did not invent anything new. These are the same landscapes. These are the same still lifes, the same portraits. He often turns to thematic plots, where he can show his love for national art, for the traditions of his people. And besides, he tries to correspond to today's time. He is an experimenter. And at the same time, his experiments were not invented at all. They are precisely done in the framework of the Soviet academic school, the achievements of which no one has cancelled today.
Он создавал в Италии работы. Он выставлялся в Южной Корее, где бы его работы ни бывали.
He created his works in Italy. He exhibited in South Korea. Wherever his work is, it is accepted by all the peoples of the world, because his work does not have national borders. Because this gamut of feelings is common throughout the world. No one can remain indifferent to his works, because in each viewer he evokes some kind of positive emotions, sensual emotions.
Потому что он, как в каждом зрителе, отзывает какие-то положительные эмоции, чувственные эмоции.
The works of Kairambaev are in the collections of the State Museum of Art named after Kostev, in the capital's Presidential Center for Culture, in the fund of the Directorate of Art Exhibitions of the Ministry of Culture, in the residences of the President of our country, in art galleries and collections in Kazakhstan and beyond. Zhumakyn Kairambaev, professor of the Faculty of Painting, Sculpture and Design of the Kazakh National Academy of Arts named after Temurbek Zhurgenev. The Izdir Authors Project, amazing in its creativity, inspires famous artists to improvisation and originality of creative thinking. For Zhumakyn, the most important thing is to see the light and beauty. Knowing that the world is tragic, he seeks glimpses of light and harmony in it, and most importantly, hope. And what he does in life, his work is devoted to hope, and this we read so clearly in his work. It is no coincidence that this work, Motherhood, is on display at the State Museum of Art named after Kostev. But this theme remains important through all his creativity. This is such an endless melody and dialogue. Here we see the Bessie, cradle, a young mother who looks attentively at her child. But all this is not realistically depicted, but it's very arbitrary, very poetic, as if all this is happening not in our real space. Zhumakyn Kairambaev has an amazing flavor. He is generally a complex artist, but he paints in this way that you understand that the lilac color here is not just a color. This is just an expression of that melancholy, that silence, that immersion in this feeling, the feeling of tenderness that a mother feels for her child.
кочевники, это значит не один век.
A nomad has been wandering the steppe for centuries. Although they roam, they develop music and songs, arts and crafts. It is constantly evolving. I am from the owl. There is Aigaitas in the owl, the whole wall of the mountain, rock. And if you shout, ah, it disappears there.
Целая стена гор, скала, как крикнет, а, там, исчезает там.
Он и спал, наверное, он и рисовал. Потому что мы знаем, что в детстве...
He was sleeping and probably painted. As a child, he created the first works in the snow. As a child, he saw snow. He had no paper, no pencils. He took the stick and began to draw. And after his father prepared him several sticks, like a pencil and like a brush, to create first works in the snow. His solo exhibitions are school walls.
Его персональная выставка — это в школьных стенах он выставлял свои работы.
И поэтому у него это получается совершенно не кричаще.
And therefore, he doesn't show it at all. It's completely harmonious. There are many works in his creative language, which in general are close to perfection.
Я уже представляю, она примерно какой размер будет, квадрат или длинный.
I can imagine what size it will be, and then what color patterns will be used, whether it is warm or in some kind of contrast cold. Somewhere lyrics, somewhere vice versa, like Q of Kurmangazy. And after thinking, I will be painting this picture.
Как придумаю, потом вот этот этюд натура у меня стоит, вот дерево, дома, все. Я это уже пишу, эту картину.
Мне лично импонирует то,
I am personally impressed by the fact that this artist, within the framework of the Russian academic school, very delicately brought the traditions of national art. He turns to the traditions of our national painting when it reached its peak. These are our 60s artists.
Для поколения шестидесятников
For the 60s generation, the theme of father was very important. This is a moment of searching your soil, searching your history. Actually, this is a deep process. Who am I? Where am I from? This is a portrait of a hero who can change circumstances, which can give you strength, give you confidence in the future. If you do not have this soil, then you also have no future.
Отец, например, он ни одной буквы не знает, наизусть знает это эпос.
Our father does not know a single letter. He knows our epics, Jibek by heart. He has the motif of some song, like rock music, and he sings, and everyone listens. And then all the spoons, forks, everything was wooden. Then he made a saddle. He made all horse uniforms.
Потом он делал седло, делал вот это все обмундирование коня, там вот это все он сам делал.
образ отца, это, конечно, он...
The image of the father is a reflection of the artist Zhumakyn Kairambaev. I see the same expression on my face. This is a feeling of love for the world, love for people, the sun. This portrait showed me that in all circumstances there is a light. There is a light of the soul. This is a complex world of feelings of Zhumakyn Kairambaev depicted very soulfully. He is a lyrical artist, but he is still an emotional artist.
И он лирический художник, но он еще очень эмоциональный художник.
Вот у него память феноменальная. Он может отразить.
He has a phenomenal memory. Having seen from the window the trains, he can reflect, flickering with plots. Coming home to create this work, he has a small sketch where he creates the foothills of Alatau, red poppies, light and shadow, always working his works, light and shadow. His work is very expressive.
Свет, тень. Его работы очень выразительны.
Я взял Пикассо. Я думаю, мне иногда...
I took Picasso. It was interesting, especially circus performers, Arlequin. I read one day, everything's fine. One day, I'm reading, he wrote someone a letter. You know, he says, I like to fool people. When my work is not understandable, I get the greatest pleasure. I thought, and closed the book. That's all. We live once. Why to fool people?
Книжку закрыл, все. Мне один раз живу, мне зачем дурить?
Zhumakyn Kairambaev has real painting, and therefore it always has a task. It always has a hidden meaning that you will not immediately see. That is why his painting is inexhaustible. It is endless. No matter how much we look, we will never completely understand. It will not bother us. We will always see a response in the soul. This is the feature of a real big painting.
Для создания композиции, пейзажных композиций, портретных, он всегда...
Both landscapes and portraits. He always gives all the best, and therefore his small works look as complete large works. Recently, there was an exhibition at Kosteyev Museum. Dürer's work was exhibited there. It is 10 cm in total. Increasing it here, we consider it as a big picture. It is also possible to consider works, small sketch works of Zhumakyn Kairambaev. His works were regarded as large works.
Его работа рассматривается как большим произведением, завершенным.
He is a very harmonious person. From him we feel, well, that's Sufi, Tangrian. Not even peace, not peace. It is understanding the world in its entirety, understanding the main thing in this world. Everything changes in this world, but something remains unchanged. What is it? These are human feelings. These are human connections. This is what holds this earth. When you look at such a wise and meaningful face of Zhumakyn Kairambaev, it seems that these are exactly the heroes of legends and epics. From it should draw the images of the steppes and thinkers, poets and musicians. There is something in his face that I want to leave this look in time, like those things that he created. These are these paintings in which each of us will find something of our own, something important, perhaps slipping away like a vision or reality, where everything is so harmonious and beautiful. Do you remember? He wanted to put it all in the canvases, and he was amazingly successful. Well, isn't that amazing?